Good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 25 of the 500. We have taken the PWI 500 and set it up as a tournament bracket, single elimination. We've already knocked out 244 of them. We're about to take out another 11 today.
That still blows my mind. Pat.
Yeah.
So many matches.
So many matches.
I don't know why I went Shatner there.
Many matches. It's been quite an undertaking. We've gone through 24 episodes, and we've still got probably another 26 left. After our sixth match today, we will officially be halfway through. 250 down, 250 to go. It's a lot. It has been an undertaking. No wrestling pun intended there, but
of course there is. We're all about that. You know us.
That's fair. At
this point in our age, puns are a necessary part of our sense of humor.
That's true. It's just how we communicate at this point.
But guess what, Pat? I have a brand new segment for us.
I like segments.
Thanks to TJRWrestling.net. They are a wonderful site that provides wrestling history on this day. And guess what? I didn't realize this. But in the year 2000,
the future, Michael?
For all you Conan fans out there, on Monday Night Raw, on this date, tag team champions Edge and Christian made their way to the ring. On the microphone, Edge said that he knows everyone is disappointed they didn't run through the crowd because it's become a bit much. Instead, for the next 5 seconds, for the benefit of those with flash photography, we will pose, and the famous 5-second pose was born.
Oh, that is a historic moment indeed.
Remember that Raw? I watched it, I laughed because I loved goofy Edge and Christian heels with the giant, ridiculous sunglasses and terrible hats and
Yep.
Fantastic.
That entire thing, that entire run of Edge and Christian totally reeked of awesomeness.
And yes, another landmark moment for them, that catchphrase. Now, 2000 was also the year that they did their amazing triangle ladder match with the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys, which I actually like more than the TLC matches.
I agree.
I feel like the WrestleMania 2000 match, it was in Madison Square Garden. Jeff Hardy does the swanton off the ladder by the balcony. It's one of my favorites because I always like when they do MSG shows because the entrance is small, the audience full circles the whole thing, and I don't know. I don't mind spectacle. I'm all about spectacle. I edit a comedy show that is like a pseudo competition. And all of it is inspired by pro wrestling. Everybody has their own intros. Everybody's got each team has intro music. It's blue and red. The show is called Bragging Rights, and luckily WWE doesn't use that name anymore, so we can. But it was completely inspired by we know, but small shows like that. And I've never been to a WWE house show, but I do remember in the 90s and in the 2000s when they would come to Meadowlands, it was always the whole arena was full and they had just tiny stage so that you could just focus on the wrestling. And I get it, there's TV versus house shows, sure. But the house for a time WWF, WWE house shows were always better than the TV show. People would go out and more for the house shows and during their live tours. But, obviously with the way the world is right now, it's not as special or, they can't do that as much anymore.
Right.
And I think, this, again, I know we talk about AEW a lot, but it's kind of our standard of what we like in wrestling.
Yeah.
They don't do house shows.
No.
And the wrestlers benefit from it for at least the main roster guys because they don't put their bodies through that much anymore. They're just doing it once a week and then for the pay-per-views. I hope, though, when Ring of Honor starts again, whenever that may be, doesn't he have another big announcement this way? I don't remember. I feel like there's a new big announcement every week. But whenever that TV starts, I hope that the younger guys get in their reps, get in their rounds, so that they can be, even better when they end up showing up on Dynamite or Rampage.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think this is Ring of Honor is a kind of a unique opportunity for WWE, AEW in that
It almost
regard.
was.
Almost was.
won it, so they
almost was, and
did.
Punk in particular is very grateful that they didn't.
Yeah.
It's it's a unique opportunity in that they've got this, admittedly, overstuffed roster. AEW does right now. They've got they're just a glut of talent, especially in like the mid to lower mid card, that is just having trouble finding reps, which is going to happen on a show when you've got CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, and when Kenny Omega comes back, and Adam Cole and Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page, the world champion, who it took me almost 10 people to get to, and Sting, and MJF and Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, it just keeps going and going and going.
Jericho. It's hard for a guy like, Joey Janela to get,
or even Lee
reps.
Johnson.
Lee Johnson, he's
I love
Lee
Big
Moriarty. Lee Moriarty was in the top 50 of the PWI 500 based on his indie record, and he's barely on TV.
I think with the last Philly show, they're starting to show signs that he might be the next Blackpool prospect.
I think that's a great fit for him. I think he would be excellent. Him with Regal in his corner, show off a little bit more of a mean side. I think that's I think that's a great idea.
I will say this. When it comes to the Double or Nothing main event for the title, I have no idea which way it could go.
Yeah.
And that excites me.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you and I have talked about this, about what it means for the Forbidden Door show. Like, since it's in Chicago, do they want Punk coming into that show with the world title? Do they want to do, Punk and Okada as the, champion versus champion main event?
Whoever beats Page, instant heel.
Yeah.
Like, whether they look at that way or not, like, the crowd is going to turn on whoever takes the belt from Page, which is why, in my opinion, it should be MJF.
I agree.
At All In.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the one that's after
MJF should be the next man up for a while. All Out is the September pay-per-view.
All Out, right? Which they have joked about on BTE, where it's like, no, the show's called All In or All Out.
It was All In. Now they're All Out.
Yeah, going all out. Like, I get it. Like, I get it.
I mean, honestly, it makes more sense than Full Gear, because that's based on an inside joke from BTE from several years ago.
And apparently, it's also something in the UK that is like a reference to an illicit behavior that like a lot of people didn't realize, but a lot of UK fans were like, sure you want to call it that? But speaking of UK,
we're gonna kick off the show this week with Rampage Brown from NXT UK taking on GCW's Matthew Justice. Huge card for you this morning, including the PWS debut of the #1 overall seed in the tournament. Kenny Omega will be in action later on today. We're also going to see
Omega.
We are also going to see the new AEW TNT champion Scorpio Sky. We're going to see Killer Cross, Apollo Crews. But yeah, we're going to kick things off with Rampage Brown and Matthew Justice. Let me add that to the stream, because it is early and I am sleepy. Folks, it's been a long week for me. I will get into more why as the show goes on. It is exciting news.
Yeah, we'll save that for the second
half. To be tired, but we'll talk about that when we come back from our halftime break after. Let's do it after match 6 this week, so that we hit that nice round 250.
And I hear the match.
You hear the match?
Yes.
Awesome! It worked. I've been playing around with that this week as well. Glad to see it is working. There is Rampage Brown representing NXT UK. You can tell we are in a different arena for round 2. We have moved to the SCS arena in Fire Pro rather than the Sakai outdoor something that we did for round 1. So we've got some at least some pyro on the screens. We got some spotlights, little fancier show here for round 2, and the arenas are just going to get cooler as we get closer and closer to the final.
So fresh start,
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Natsuki Tayo is our referee representing Seedling. Matthew Justice, you may remember way back in episode 2, upset the number 161 seed in the tournament, Euphoria, with his swan dive elbow attack. And Rampage Brown, also in episode 2, in what would be a massive upset now, but was already pretty big at the time, defeated the number 96 seed Wheeler Yuta in episode 2 as well, with a jumping bomb. So you can imagine both of them are going to be looking to repeat that in this round. Matthew Justice, the 352 seed, Rampage Brown, number 417. Statistically, neither one of these two should be here, but here they are, and one of them is going to make it to the round of 128 by virtue of this victory.
This is why they call you the Stat Man, and by we today I mean me.
Yeah, but maybe someday others will.
Yes,
Collar and elbow tie-up. Brown sends Justice off, follows in with the clothesline, drags him to the center of the ring. Just to drop an elbow on his face. That seemed like a little bit of wasted motion there. Fireman's carry.
Rampage is all about just beating people up.
That's true. That's true. The 6'1", 233-pounder from Leeds in England, which for a very long time is where the legendary late great British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith was billed as from. Eventually, they were like, "No, he's actually from Manchester," so I guess we should just say that. But
Rampage Brown, I feel like, could be the guy to take the spot that Miro left behind in WWE.
He could be. He could be, but also
got a similar, roughneck look to him, big build.
Yep.
I feel like, that is the thing that Vince likes to see, even though he probably doesn't even remember that NXT UK exists, because WWE barely even, mentions it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I don't get, like, they show up on NXT, the main show for them, and they act like everyone's watched NXT UK, but there's nowhere to watch it.
Right. Yeah. Of course you remember Lewis Howley and Sam Stoker, or, Elton and Kit of Pretty Deadly, and Volter, Gunther, and what is
guy? The new named
Bartel. What is his name now?
Yeah,
Ludwig Kaiser.
Ludwig Kaiser.
That's I guess slightly better than what they were planning for Gunther.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to name your after a known German soldier.
No, yes.
I won't say
a certain
what kind because I don't want to get kicked off the stream.
Right, yes. But, those German soldiers from the 30s and 40s, there was one with that name. Meanwhile, Rampage Brown just kind of kicking the crap out of Matthew Justice here. But Justice rebounds with the DVD, the Death Valley Driver, but Rampage first to his feet.
Nathan Frazier is the one that I'm thinking of, who got noticed first on AEW when I believe he had a match against Scorpio Sky that was like very talked about.
That sounds right. I think it was Scorp, yeah.
But he was his original name. I'm looking up now, which was Ben Carter. Benjamin Carter.
Yeah.
Benjamin Carter, love. Nathan Frazier, not big fan.
Yeah. It's not super memorable.
But he is a great wrestler. And I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I never fault the wrestlers when it comes to what happens to them with NXT. I blame the Performance Center system.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of it. I think it just keeps generating generic, vanilla stuff.
Yeah. It's a training camp. It's, everybody's learning the same thing from the same trainers. So you're not going to get that kind of, diversity of skill, despite how, how impressive that training staff is. There are
they
a
all
lot
try to
of,
make them work the same style.
Yep.
Like, but there's a guy like when you have like Braun Breaker, who
phenomenal
big
forearm
very
there
nice.
from Justice.
But when you have a guy like
1,
Braun Breaker, who's
2, 3, that's enough.
Oh, that's all it
Matthew
takes.
Justice, number 352, representing the Second Gear crew in
I am
GCW.
surprised.
Moves on to round number 3. 9 minutes, 23 seconds. That's a quick one. I think that's going to be one of the top 5 or top 10 quickest matches of the tournament. I'm going to do a little by the numbers segment later in the show too. Just talking through some interesting stats from the first round. I really wanted to do a Royal Rumble style, it's all about the numbers type video. But again, later on, we will get into why I did not have time to do that. But
plenty good excuse. But like I was saying, just like, when like Braun Breaker should be always wrestling as a destroyer. Like he should have the Goldberg run. And
Yes.
they still make him like sell for rest holds and stuff like that. I'm like, why? He's intense. He's powerful. He bursts out of energy. That's like the whole thing.
Yeah. He's just another
becomes
WWE
just another guy.
babyface.
But
it's a roster full of jags.
people, and then it's like it goes back to like the new generation style of people who have day jobs that also wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Why are you there?
Right. Why?
You don't need to be there.
Yeah, you can quit your day job. You're on national television now.
Or you're in the mob if you're Tony D'Angelo.
Or you're in the mob.
He now has like 2 goons that literally have Guys and Dolls costumes as their like thug. It's terrible. It's just terrible. I watch NXT not because I know it's good wrestling, but I'm just like, this is so bad it's good show. Sometimes it's so bad it's bad. But like I'm glad for our next wrestler who doesn't have to be a part of it anymore, even though they are recovering from a pretty bad injury. But Jake Atlas.
Yes. So the nice thing about the 500 is injuries. None of that matters here. These are all digital avatars through Fire Pro Wrestling World. So yeah, injuries do not matter, which means we do get to see the number 305 seed, not 305
wins and losses do.
Sorry, what?
Wins and losses do matter here.
Wins and losses do matter because when you get to advance and lose, you go home to your.
I can't believe you ever contemplated this being anything but a single elimination tournament.
Yeah, this would not have worked as
we'd still be in round 1.
We would still we would still be in the whatever group phase.
Yeah, if we tried to do it like New Japan does.
Yeah, like the G1 and it wasn't. It quickly became much too big of an idea. I'm still on board for once we're done with the tournament, just kind of turning it into.
Oh yeah, have some backup matches. We still got to fill in the card.
Yeah, we've just got a lot to get through before we can even think about
tag matches and some explosive barbed wire death matches.
That is on the final show. I'm thinking probably the quarters, the semis, and the final will all be on one show because that's 7 matches. And then we can throw in, like, assuming that it's still the longest and bloodiest match of the tournament, Nick Gage and Brett Eisen can have their rematch in an exploding barbed wire landmine death match. Some sort. I'd like to do either a battle royal or an 8-man tag. Guys who didn't make the list, like people.
Sometimes I will say, like playing on my computer. Sometimes the multi-tag matches, it's like they get broken up so quickly that it's just like this match won't end.
You can turn that off in the settings. So we would probably have to do that. Of not allowing interference to break up pins. But yeah, you're right. It's you get too many guys going. But because there's been so many people that have debuted after the evaluation period for the 500 that, Edge came back and Samoa Joe didn't make the list and Brock Lesnar. And, there's a lot of guys that we're not going to see in the 500 because they didn't make the PWI 500.
But
2 guys who did.
Fantastic ones.
two guys who did. We're going to start by taking a look at the number 464 seed from Raleigh, North Carolina. Infinite Man.
Do it right.
North Carolina.
There you go.
That's just for Charlotte, though.
That's true.
Here comes Timmy Lou Retton, one half of one of my favorite indie teams, the Gymnasty Boys.
I love it.
I love it. We saw way back in episode 2 when he defeated the number 49 seed in our tournament, AJ Gray, using a torture camel clutch. He is up against
Lou Retton, I'm guessing is a take on.
Oh yes, on Mary Lou Retton.
Mary Lou Retton.
Yep, absolutely. And here comes superstar Jake Atlas, representing All Elite Wrestling, despite only having a couple matches for them before an injury. But here he is, representing them in style in round 2 of the 500. We saw him defeat Hijo de LA Park back in episode 2 with his trademark LGBDDT.
I love that name.
That's a great name for a finish. He also sometimes calls it the Stonewall DDT, which is also a great name.
I love that. I think that's what they call. I think that's what Excalibur called it in his match against Adam Cole, which was an NXT rematch of sorts.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Yoshinori Umeki from Glate is our referee for this contest.
Kind of disappointed with the Adam Cole run. I don't know what it is. I feel like there's just something missing. Like I think it's because he's still trying to do the NXT style, and maybe I love Adam Cole. I think he's a phenomenal wrestler, but I think that's still trying to shake off versus how like Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish came in and they were wrestling just like they used to.
Yes, they went right back to being Ring of Honor Red Dragon.
But like Adam Cole, like, why are you still surprised that people kick out of the Panama Sunrise? Right. Like everybody kicks out of that, and you can't be surprised anymore when that happens. Yeah. You should be surprised when someone doesn't.
Right. Oh,
he does that. He does that shock face that I just can't can't get behind, because it's just like, oh well, dude, come on, you shouldn't be surprised.
Right.
It should be a setup move at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it is. You know, he's been using the boom as the finish.
It's just like, come on.
That'd be like, you know, Goldberg being surprised somebody kicks out of the spear. Like, of course they did. You're setting up for the jackhammer.
But one move didn't follow. One move always followed the other, so that was like
true.
Couldn't stop that.
Yeah.
But I'm a big. Here's the thing. I love indie gimmicks. I think like something like the Gymnasty Boys is so much fun, and I feel like that's something I might be missing a little bit more in wrestling lately, is just it being fun. And you know, wrestling is, with those many versions of the promotions, wrestling is fun was one of my favorite ones that came out of Chikara. Camp Leapfrog, which I'm loving.
Camp Leapfrog's great.
It just you know, fun wrestling. There's a great promotion in Florida that's all cosplaying. I mean, it's wrestlers that tour the indie circuit, but they play like Black Widow or you know, Mickey Mouse is the Vince McMahon of that world. It's very, very fun. Skeletor fights, you know, Wreck-It Ralph. Like it's awesome.
Because why not?
And they had cameos because they do a convention circuit. Oh, heard that one.
Yep. Timmy Lou rang Jake's bell.
Jake Atlas's bells. But they do like the Florida convention circuit, and they had like Dolph Lundgren came out to assist He-Man. You know, awesome. There was a Cobra Kai stable, and the sensei showed up and he told them no mercy, sweep the leg, like he did the whole deal. I love that.
Standing moonsault by Atlas only gets a 2 count.
Atlas is one of those great, like, he's got bulk, but he can, you know, looks like a heavyweight, moves like a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Would have been amazing in the X division.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and speaking of the X Division, oh, nice! I love that
pop-up kick.
Have you watched Speedball Mike Bailey
Yes.
in Impact matches? He is killing it.
He is excellent.
Him and Trey Miguel are like my favorite wrestlers in Impact right now.
Yeah.
Also W. Morrissey,
who is probably showing up on Dynamite this week.
I mean, he's 7 feet tall.
You can't teach that.
That's a great crossover.
Yeah.
When Jake Atlas is healed and comes back, who's somebody you want to see him face off against? Because I think he'd be a great TNT title contender.
Yeah, I think he and I'd like to see him and Scorpio. I think him and Wheeler could do some good stuff. I think that would be a fun match.
Nice Uranagi.
Oh, he's just I don't even know what to call that.
That was like a low-key kick.
Yeah.
Don't tell him because he'll be pissed that someone took his move.
Right, yes. All of the moves that he invented. Yes. Atlas charges in, misses. Timmy Lou moved. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Atlas was active in AEW for such a short period of time that there are almost all of the dream matches are still on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Like, him and Danielson would be great. Him and Cole would be great. And then, which did that ever happen in NXT? I don't think it did.
What?
Atlas and Cole?
I thought it did.
Did it?
Let me check.
Oh, pump kick attempt by Retton, but off the ropes comes Jake Atlas with a running, almost a punt kick right to the chest.
They were in NXT at the same time, but they did not cross paths.
2 count only.
So it was 2 former NXT wrestlers wrestling in AEW.
Gotcha. Okay. Move to go behind Atlas with the elbow. Uh-oh. Fighting spirit time. Trading blows back and forth. Super kick. It's not quite a party. It's a me party, party of one.
Each guy has traded a cutter in this match.
Big drop kick. Almost a drop salt there from Jake Atlas. Release German.
A lot of hard strikes in this match.
Yeah. Let's see her throwing those kicks and knees. Oh, Timmy Lou responds with a cutter of his own.
That's one of those moves that's slowly becoming like the DDT.
Yes. Yep.
Ace Crusher, Diamond Gutter, RKO.
Yeah, pretty much unless you've got a unique take on it.
Cody
like
cutter.
The RKO or like Sammy's, flying cutter.
The one that got countered and that Scorpio turned off in the ladder.
So great.
Beautiful.
I really feel, I guess I don't feel bad for Sammy and Ty.
No, they turned it into
they have embraced
attitude.
it in a way that Cody and Brandy never did.
And I think that's kind of what they were doing. Like, did you see that? Oh, 3 count.
1, 2, 3. Wins it with the Samoan driver. And Timmy Lou just rubbing it in a little bit there. Timmy Lou Retton, the 464 seed, has advanced to the 3rd round of our tournament. Back-to-back upsets for Timmy Lou Retton. And back-to-back not back-to-back upsets for our show today because in the first match, Matthew Justice was the higher seed. So the Gymnasty Driver is our finish there from Timmy Lou.
Awesome.
464, Timmy Lou. And we will get, as the show goes on, we will get into what these wins mean for the 2nd round. Or, sorry, the 3rd round. This is the 2nd round. But I don't really have any of that info yet because these are the first 2 matches of the round. So we don't know who anybody's opponents are yet.
Our next match, though, I'm a big fan as I love the LA Dojo. And Clark Connors coming out of the LA Dojo is probably one of their top prospects there.
Absolutely.
He gets a huge reaction on New Japan Strong. I think he's looking to be the next open weight championship. Kind of wants to dethrone Tom Lawler, who I always enjoy every time I see him. He's just got that instant je ne sais quoi.
Yeah,
As the French call, I don't know what.
I don't know what. Yeah. Lawler's a star.
Yeah,
There's just no two ways around that. He just
probably the best rear naked choke in wrestling right now. 'Cause
Yeah,
he
probably.
uses that MMA force.
Yeah.
By the way, congrats to one of our new friends of the show, Mad Dog Connolly, for being having his Midwest Championship.
Congrats, Mad Dog.
I'm a
And
big,
hey, congrats to, we didn't mention it on the show, but Nick Camarado's engaged. I don't know if you saw that video of him proposing to his referee
that's very
girlfriend
cool.
at an indie show.
I love this music.
Yeah, some of the built-in songs in the game are pretty great. As we get farther and farther into the tournament, there is a way to import music, and maybe I should just do that for the later rounds once we get down to 64 or so.
He is Clark Connors wearing his traditional LA Young Lion gear right now,
Yes,
even though
indeed.
he has graduated a bit more to be custom style. He's got, I love the old school fringe on the boots,
Yeah.
Big Ultimate Warrior style gear.
Yes. I think wrestling needs more fringe and tassels.
Oh, sure.
I think that's kind of a lost art. It just looks so cool, like, blowing in the breeze as they, go flying.
I mean, it's the Rockers gear and Macho Man.
Yeah. Yep. Kerry Von Erich had on his boots when he would do his discus
A rare
clothesline.
time that a Von Erich wore boots.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Marshall and Ross both wear boots, though, don't they? In MLW?
I'm not. Well, I think they started not, or one of them did,
Yeah.
and then because they were taken from their father's cue, who never wore boots.
Yeah. I feel like they do now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's in there with Matt Hayter, one of our extensive Australian contingent that I wound up having to create because there's apparently not a ton of Fire Pro creators who are up on the Australian indie scene.
Which is a great wrestling scene.
It really
a lot of
is.
great wrestling coming out of Australia.
Absolutely.
Pro
A lot of
Wrestling
great women's
Eve,
wrestling
I believe
coming out of
is.
Australia.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is Pro Wrestling Eve based out of Australia?
I believe it is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we talked last week about that, the Charlie Evans and shoot, I'm blanking
Oh
on her
no,
name.
Pro Wrestling Eve's British. My apologies.
Oh, is it British?
Yeah.
That death match with the head spikes.
Oh God. Yeah.
So Matt Hayter in the first round upset Warhorse, who
I
just
love
a
Warhorse.
quick reminder, rules ass, with a Tai Chi style ghetto clutch. And Clark Connors defeated Toru Yano, your favorite wrestler,
Right.
way back in episode 1 with the neck throw headlock. That match was 25 minutes, 50 seconds long, the 7th longest match in round number 1.
I think that was also called the cravat suplex. I know that Chris Hero used to use that one a lot.
Back to that Boston Crab, which is one of his trademark moves.
It is a fundamental move for all young lions. As we've talked about before, young lions have a move set that they can only use before they get their excursion and get to develop themselves more. And it's like drop kick, suplex, traditional holds, and then like the one submission they can do is a Boston Crab. The whole point of that is if you can do all of these things and still tell a great story in your match every time, and it doesn't seem like the same thing, despite being limited, you become a better wrestler. and it shows.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely we talked about the performance center formula. There's a formula to the dojo, but the difference is it works.
Yeah.
It continues to crank out.
The thing is, with the performance center, they expect their guys to be able to just go on TV and work the PWG guy style.
Right.
Which is not how it works.
Nope. There's a reason that it was big news when they signed Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and Red Dragon and all of those guys. Like, it was like, oh, I've seen these guys before. I know they are good wrestlers when they got to NXT, as opposed to, like, who's Harland? Although, that's probably a bad example because Parker Boudreaux was an indie guy before he went to NXT.
And he's now an indie guy again.
He is once again an indie guy. As is Dakota Kai.
Oh.
How do you release Dakota Kai and Dexter Loomis? How do you...
I like Sam Shaw. But,
yeah.
I feel like they saw that he can do a straight face without laughing, and they were like, well, that's your thing from now on.
That's the thing you do.
We don't want you to have any other personality. Literally. No personality.
Yep. So, yeah, the only two remaining members of The Way are Candice and Indy.
But you know that McMahon's got a ton of investment in Theory.
In theory, yeah. Yep.
I feel like he thinks he's the next Randy Orton.
Could be.
Although I think McMahon said he feels like he's the next John Cena, which is
I have heard that.
Claim.
Yeah, I've heard that same quote. And I mean, we'll see. I mean, I like Austin Theory just fine. I think he's very talented.
Watch his stuff in Evolve, folks. That
yeah.
is some great wrestling.
Yeah, he's very good. But I also feel like they said similar things about Drew McIntyre and
that's the problem. You can't
Big E. And
you can't go out and say these things because it just it's that big Yakuza kick.
Hater just pummeling Connors right now. Yeah.
By the way,
excited about
model.
Mr. Kennedy.
Good job with this model, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Transparent head.
yeah. I was a little weird. I was checking the part in the hair. Like, can I see the map through his head? I did eventually figure out that there is a part that I just wasn't using correctly that was causing that. Connors firing off those forearms. This has been a really hard hitting affair here between Hayter and Connors. Hayter just using the quad as a speed bag, trying to Charlie horse the leg.
Oh God!
And then just a punch to the gut.
The Tree of Woe is a hard move to make look like actually like. Why can't the guy just unhook his feet?
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Hey!
Ringing the bell, and now the referee just did not see the crotch punch. Apparently.
Oh, that could have been a very
did it.
underhanded win, literally.
Ryogaku Wada from Plate is our referee for this third match of round number 2. Drop kick to the back of the leg from Hayter. Hayter really working over Connor's legs. I'm guessing he thinks that if he can knot up those legs, then that makes it harder for Connors to apply moves like the Boston Crab, and it'll take away some of his explosiveness too.
Hater gonna hate.
Jeez.
Why did he do it? You can't do a pin on the outside of the ring. Come on, it's not that kind of match.
Not yet. Maybe in a showcase later.
Maybe Hayter got his bell rung.
Maybe. Drop toe hold from Connors, bringing it back to the fundamentals. I would be angry as well.
As Harley Race would say.
What was that?
Great fundamentals.
Great fundamentals. Connors throws a kick. Hayter dodges it, so instead he just eats 3 forearms to the face. And another straight shot to the groin right in front of the referee. Wada did notice he was in the ropes, so I guess that's good. Double stomp off the top.
Hey, the ref's got to get his eyes checked.
Yeah. You would think especially a GLEAT referee would be really on top of that.
Especially with the amount of rules that they have.
Exactly. 1, 2.
Maybe he's cutting
3.
loose.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe he's just grateful to be calling just a straight wrestling match, so he's a little more
far from it
more
with a win
relaxed
like
with
that,
things.
though.
But Matt Hayter, the number 416 seed, moves on to round 128. Using that same Tai Chi style ghetto clutch that he used in round 1. I guess that has become his official the 500 finish here. Having used it now
worked.
Twice.
Granted, it was at the expense of Clark Connor's, other regions.
Yep. Poor Clark. And 96%. So far, we're getting some pretty good ratings out of these first 3 matches. That first match was short, so it only got an 85, but we have since had a 98 and now a 96.
Well, I am looking forward to our next match because it is featuring our first friend of the show that we've ever had.
The first match of the show.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of firsts, and we will get into that when the intros start. We're also going to see a representative of our favorite Japanese, or at least mine, favorite Japanese promotion, DDT Pro Wrestling. Dramatic Dream Team. We've talked a lot about DDT over the months we've been doing this.
It's all about the Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship.
Absolutely.
The greatest 24/7 pro wrestling title in history.
Yes, indeed. I have not heard much about what's going on with that title. I do a little bit of research during the intros.
It might be that current champion has decided below profile so as not to accidentally lose it to someone else.
Yeah.
or
something
else.
Yeah. This is a title that has been won by books, a massage mat, a tablet featuring 500,000 YouTube followers. But here comes our old pal, Don't Die Miles, fellow Midwestern boy like myself. He was in our very first match way back in episode 1 when he upset Pac. Don't Die Miles, the number 480 seed, beating number 33 Pac. It was the 6th biggest upset in round 1. It was also our first match and our first upset. And Chris Brooks from DDT, member of the Calamari Drunken Kings, one half of the KOD Tag Team Champions. Chris Brooks, the Human Fly, that's his entrance music by the Cramps, which of course we don't have the rights to, defeated Yuji Okabayashi in episode 2 in what the game called one of the 10 worst matches of round 1, getting only a 77%, which is still pretty decent. That's still a C+. But when you consider there were 3,500% matches in round 1, a 77 is gonna fall on the lower side. But yeah, let me pull up the DDT Heavy Metalweight Championship.
Oh yeah, I've got it already. It's
excellent. What you got?
Still currently the champion is forgive me. I'll do my best. Shinichiro Kawamatsu. Who has held it since March 27th.
Okay. So I haven't actually missed any title changes.
Kept it at got it from YouTuber and Tokyo Metropolitan Assemblyman.
Yes.
It pinned Antonio Honda after he had just successfully defended the title at Daydream Believer 2022.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Then I don't feel so bad that I didn't remember that. I remembered that he had won the title because he's a politician and YouTuber, but I was worried I had missed a defense somewhere along the way.
By the way, Don't Die Miles is wrestling today. If you are in the, he's going to be wrestling for the Ben Sheeran brand. I'm looking for, a promotion by Benjamin Sheeran. He will be wrestling. He will be in his tag team match of Shooters Don't Die along with Saturn Cameron. And they will be taking on the Russell twins. $15 online, $20 at the door, and they are going to be. I'm trying to find where this show is. I want to make sure it's a Louisville, Kentucky-based promotion. So
Okay.
anyone who's in that area, you just go to on Facebook, look up Benjamin Sheeran, Shearin, and you will see. It feels like it's a local version of a Jim Crockett promotion style. And yeah, he is quite proud. I get to see my boys today.
Just remember, stay hydrated.
Oh, yeah. We bring in water, wild energy, and if the plan works, we're not dying.
Yep. And no Dasani.
No Dasani.
Don't Die Miles is very strict about that.
Absolutely.
Stay hydrated, but not Dasani. Sling Blade clothesline there from Don't Die Miles. Chris Brooks has yet to be able to kind of counter the speed of Miles. We mentioned back in episode 1, Miles, formerly known as Miles Morales, had to change the name for, obvious reasons.
Yeah,
but,
I'd say, but he could join
he could.
Florida's fantasy cosplay wrestling promotion there as Miles Morales.
Indeed, he
if
could.
he so chose.
Yes, indeed. Fires off just a punch to the face. Brooks looked like he was going for a power bomb, but it was reversed into a pinning combo. Referee Mio Shirai was on top of that to make sure it was broken up in the ropes. Of course, Mio Shirai representing the Oz Academy, and of course the sister of Io Shirai. Those two were a great tag team for several years before injuries kind of got in Mio's way, and Io went off to great success in the States. I was going to say a little bit underused in NXT, but colossally underused in NXT currently.
Greatly.
Considering she's probably, now that Dakota's gone, I don't think there's really anybody on that women's roster that comes anywhere close to Io Shirai right now.
Oh, no.
Standing shooting star there from Don't Die Miles. Brooks coming off the ropes with a PK to the chest. Might have caught him in the face with that knee, too. There's Brooks. Again, we've joked about the symmetry of this game before. You'll notice the strap for Brooks changing shoulders depending on which direction he's facing. What's up?
It's magic.
Don't Die Miles twisting Phoenix Splash, but his feet were under the ropes, so no pinfall there.
Always impressed with the athleticism of this generation's cruiserweights and light heavyweights.
Absolutely.
Hey,
man. Somebody should be keeping a running tally of low blows on this show because it's a lot. Miles goes to the floor.
Right out of the ring.
Brooks catching his breath. Brooks' biggest match of the year in terms of his rating from Uncle Dave. If you check out the Cyber Fight Festival from last June. Oh, Sam Schuster, that might be enough. Only 2. Brooks teamed with Mao and Shunma Katsumata against Daisuke Sasaki, Soma Takao, and Tetsuya Endo in a trios match at Cyber Fight Festival. 4-star match. So nice. That is definitely one to look to. He also, during the evaluation period, that's an unusual pinning combination there from Chris Brooks. Only gets 2. He did win the DDT Extreme title in a barbed wire casket death match, and the DDT Iron Man heavy metalweight title. He beat Saki Akai for it before eventually losing it to Antonio Honda, who, holds that title almost weekly. Hasn't for 34 days, though, since losing it to the politician and YouTuber.
Oh!
Twisting Phoenix Splash again, this time across the back.
Back up, but he had that Tree of Woe kicking, making real good use of his kick pads.
Yeah. come on, Mio.
Brooks.
That's right in front of you. Double underhook into the power bomb. Running shooting star.
I think this is how he beat Pac.
3. That's it. That is the move that he used to beat Pac back in episode 1. And Don't Die Miles, the number 480 seed, moves on to the round of 128. Huge win there for Don't Die Miles.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think that he could take this whole tournament.
There's a chance. He's definitely showing that he's got star power. Like, just the crowds are getting really into Don't Die Miles, both virtually and in real life. I mean,
oh yeah, for sure.
Watched any of his recent indie stuff, either on IWTV,
we know we're fans,
or YouTube. Just a star in the making. Don't Die Miles.
Pat and I share this. Watch this channel called BWDJ Forever, I think, and he's always I'm not sure who it is, but they've always got great like oh my god lists and submission, the match footage. It's really great. It's where we saw some brutal hardcore spots.
Yes,
and some amazing technical spots. I think recently, I forget who it was, but there was one where he just chucks him into the air so high, catches him, and turns it into a Tour of the Islands power slam.
Good Lord. Yeah, the things indie guys are coming up with now, just the strength and the athleticism, they're just doing stuff that guys, 10 years ago wouldn't have even thought to try.
I'll tell you a funny story of how actually some of those spots get invented from a few of my friends who did the indie circuit. Action figures. Basically, like, they would use the action figures to display how they were going to use that move. My friend Damian Dragon, he said it was one of the biggest things that he did with SAT back when he was still wrestling in Brooklyn. They were like, oh yeah, we put our moveset together by showing each other with using wrestling action figures. It was fantastic.
That's awesome. I love that. Calling matches with action figures is how I sort of started my commentary career as a kid. So I love that the wrestlers are doing the same thing. Like, oh, yeah, no, I can do this. And then
it
you
never
do that.
Changes.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, now it's probably even easier since there's like points of articulation.
So many points of articulation, yeah.
Yeah, we were, you and I were having to do it with those old hard plastic Hasbro figures from the early 90s. Or the
squeeze the legs and their muscles flexed.
Yeah. Or pull their arm back, and then they, whatever rubber band inside of them made them whip around with a clothesline so fast you could hurt your finger if you didn't.
Do you remember those weird ones that WWF made where they sweat?
I do remember those. That was weird. You remember the ones that WCW made that vibrated?
No,
I had a couple of those. I had I had the Outsiders and the Giant, and yeah, they were just like hard plastic. They were posed like either with their arms up or their arms down, and there was a button on the side. You squeezed the button and they just shook. I don't know why, but that was a thing they did and sold in stores to children. Wrestling's weird, man. We've said it so many times before on this show. It's just weird.
I mean, wrestling, just that's the joy of it. It can go so many ways.
Yeah, 100%. It's there is nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
And thank you, Don't Die Miles, for just giving us a shout out on Twitter.
Nice.
He just said, I just heard y'all about how I'm a star in the making, and guys, that means the world to me. I'm so appreciative of you all. Also, me versus Chris Brooks, and you had me versus Pac. Wild stuff.
Well, it'll be interesting to see who he's got in round 3. Actually, we know that. Miles, if you're out there watching, it's going to be you against Matthew Justice in round 3.
Well, there you go.
So start your your digital training, because Justice also on a no pun intended bit of a rampage after beating Rampage Brown in our opener, and Euphoria back in round number 1. But we are closing in on the halfway mark of this episode. So we got 2 more matches before we take our halftime break, which will be the literal halftime of the tournament. 250 up, 250 down. But let's go to the ring for Taylor Rust against Hartley Jackson.
Nice.
Taylor Rust, who you know, probably remember from his brief stint in NXT as Tyler Rust, also formerly known as Rust Taylor, now going by Taylor Rust. But first, here comes Hartley Jackson from 0-1. We saw him way back in episode 1 defeat Tony Deppen with the Death Valley Driver. It was one of the better matches of episode 1. But also on episode 1, that very same episode, this man, Taylor Rust, defeated the number 320 seed Crazy Steve from Decay.
A blind wrestler.
Yes. Should be pronounced Crazy, because there's 2 Z's, but that's a whole different thing.
Crazy. He's crazy Steve.
He's crazy. Steve is crazy.
It's a funny carnival clown, man.
Yes. He's Decay. He used a corkscrew neck breaker to win that match. So we will see if he can repeat that. Taylor, the number 193 seed in our tournament. Hartley Jackson, 449. So this would be another pretty solid upset for Hartley Jackson if he can win this. But Hartley Jackson, another one of those, another part of that Australian contingent of rising stars. He works for Pro Wrestling 01 out of Japan, but he is originally from Adelaide in South Australia. He's also the head coach at the 01 dojo. So he's going to try to teach old Taylor a lesson. But Taylor, you know, between these two, they've got about combined. Okay, Taylor holding that clothesline for a while there. These two have a combined basically 40 years of experience in the ring. Hartley's got about 4 years on Taylor, but they're both, Taylor's about 17, 18 years pro. Hartley Jackson about 21, 22. So these guys have both been around the block a time or 6, and both know all the tricks. And neither one of these two would surprise me with the berth in the 3rd round. Well, Sayuri Namba is our referee from Tokyo Joshi Pro.
Let's have a small gentleman's wager. I think I'm going to go with Hartley Jackson on this one.
All right. I will. I'll take the opposite side. I'll take Taylor Rust. I think Taylor had, before this installment of the 500, had only made one previous appearance in the PWI 500. That was back in 2015 when he was number 275. So in those 6 years, he was not ranked, but then jumped up to 193. Hartley Jackson, meanwhile, made his first appearance in the PWI 500. Mentioned he's a 21, 22-year pro. His rookie year, he was number 275 on the 500. Funny, they both debuted at 275, but Hartley did it in 2001 compared to Taylor's 2015.
And folks, you may not believe this, but this is all by memory that Pat has this.
Yes, yeah, I definitely do not have a doc over here with all of this
it's all up
listed out. Not just a hat rack, my friend. Hartley back into the ring. They're going to slow the pace down a little bit. You'll notice a definitely more deliberate pace between these two than some of our earlier matches. Not going for the big flashy offense, just kind of pummeling each other. Honestly.
You know what it is? I think at this point in the tournament, they just probably want to kind of get the win early.
Yeah.
Also, I think I can hear myself from your sound.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
I don't know. It sounds like I can hear myself on a speaker on a phone.
You can hear you.
No big deal.
Okay. Because I can only hear me.
No worries.
I mean, I can't actually hear me. I can hear you, and I can hear the match.
Okay.
No. Well, we'll listen back for quality assurance afterwards and see if that's a problem we need to
We
fix
face
for
the
next
same
week.
troubles that every streamer faces.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
We don't have super high budget or any budget.
No. We also, I'm in Tennessee, you're in New Jersey. Like we can't exactly get together to troubleshoot these things. We're having to do all of this remote.
Cross country.
Yeah.
I got the East Coast territory. You've got
I got that Mid-South.
Yeah, Mid-South. Yeah. God, I love Mid-South wrestling. I still do. I mean, you could watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, IWA Mid-South is based in my parents' hometown. Like, all of their shows happen in the Louisville area, based out of Jeffersonville, Indiana. But they're always in Clarksville and Sellersburg. And so.
Championship Wrestling from Memphis, also great promotion there.
Yeah, UWM's doing some cool stuff with their Championship Wrestling from promotions.
Yeah. I'd love for them to set one up here.
I'll drive around the logo. That'd be cool. I'd love to see one in Nashville, but obviously that's not going to happen since they have one in Memphis. Well, they have one in Memphis. It would behoove them to go to the East Coast for their next one rather than do another one in this area.
I hope Arizona's show comes back because Peter Avalon was producing that. It was he said it was his child, but people were asking him. He's like, "It's dead." But I hope he gets a. It was from what I watched and knowing that now he was the producer on it. I feel like that's a role he may end up having in AEW.
Yeah. When his wingman days are over.
Yeah, I think so because the Workhorsemen debuted as a tag team, which I love that name.
Yeah. A little surprised Arn and Tully aren't like, hey, can we not have that name?
I think they appreciate the homage. I don't think they like the Extreme Horsemen from MLW though.
No, I would imagine not.
Because that was very blatant.
Yes.
In the early days of MLW when it was kind of like, oh, we're not ECW, but we have a lot of people from ECW.
We're not ECW, but we are called by Joey Styles, and we've got Sabu and the Sandman and New Jack.
Steve Corino and Tommy Dreamer and Dusty Rhodes even.
Yeah. We're not ECW, but we're not ECW.
We're based in Philly, but
just a remarkable coincidence.
But now, I mean,
Pump Handle Power Slam from Hartley, that might be enough.
Oh, very close. But now MLW is everywhere.
Yes.
And I did recently watch, because there was some controversy with the LaPark family.
Yes.
And it's very clear that they reshot it.
Oh! Hartley picks up the win.
I win.
6 Power Slams the charm.
But it was very clear that they filmed and chose a different team to represent. I always call him Dario Cuerto, but I know he has a new name. Cesar Duran. Yeah.
Cesar Duran. Yeah.
For his Azteca Underground, and it was his cronies that attacked Fatu this time.
Yes.
By the way, love MLW. That triple threat match from the Intimidation Games, a recent episode, so good.
Yeah, Hammerstone and Fatu and Mads Kruger, really good stuff. I love the way that MLW lets their stories breathe.
Yes,
they're very good about that. Whole show was built around that title match, and there was one other match on the show. There wasn't a ton of short little matches.
Microman.
It was Microman, along with not Ares. Ares was on the other team. Arhenis, not Arhenis. What is it? Aramis?
Yeah, Ares.
And Casey Navarro against Ares, Mini Abismo Negro, and Gino Medina. That was a fun lucha style, and Microman is
super over.
The biggest, no pun intended,
Absolutely
pop
fun
of the
and
night.
Come on. I love that. I love Microman. I just, it's so much fun to see him. But I guess it's now halftime.
Yep. Well, let's do one more so that we can hit that.
Oh, we are going to do one
250.
more? Okay, cool.
Let's do one more just because this will be the 250th match.
Right. Okay, cool.
We'll cut us halfway through, and then we'll come back for our final 5 matches, talk a little bit about some by the number stuff and what I've been up to, both outside and maybe inside the ring.
Exciting news!
We will talk about that when we come back. But first, I need to find my referee. Here he is.
We've got Apollo Crews taking on Yuji Hino.
Yuji Hino, our second 0-1 representative of the morning. You may remember Yuji Hino from round 1 and his finisher, the fucking bomb. That is the name of it. That's not me being
the F-bomb.
Yes. That is what the move is called. And he's in there with Apollo, who Apollo only our third person so far to not have pulled an upset in the first round, Taylor Rust being the other, but now Taylor Rust has been upset.
But we're not upset because we are getting a great match.
Yes, indeed. It's been a really fun show so far this morning. Yuji Hino, again, like I mentioned, representing Pro Wrestling 0-1, defeated Edith Surreal way back in episode 1 in our first ever 100% match, winning it with the fucking bomb. And he is in there against Apollo Crews, the former Uhaa Nation, who in episode 1 defeated the number 448 seed Demonio del Aire. If you remember Demonio del Aire, way back in episode 1.
What is Apollo Crews doing now? Because I could not tell you.
Good question. Is he even still with Commander Aziz?
Yeah, apparently.
They're both still on Raw, so I presume they are.
I mean, the last notable thing that happened was his Intercontinental Championship. He had it for 124 days, lost it to Nakamura, and then got drafted to Raw.
Like you do.
I mean,
and then, like everybody that goes to Raw, immediately became a megastar and never looked back.
Yeah.
Wait. Apollo Crews, one of the rare wrestlers who his cage match profile lists his wrestling style as high flyer and powerhouse, because at 6'1", 240, he can do both. And he's great at both. Yeah, he can against the smaller guys, he'll throw them around, and when he's against the bigger guys, he can fly around.
That's the thing. I wish that WWE would let wrestlers like Apollo Crews, like Ricochet, like do the stuff that they became that got them signed, but they won't.
They never will. That's just not how they roll.
I liked Apollo Crews' NXT run. He debuted on NXT Brooklyn, which was like the first big sellout show that they did. It was a big arena show, and he looked like he had the best reaction, which was genuine, where he was like, "Oh my god, I'm here!" And he even pointed to his entrance screen, like, "Do you see this? I'm big time now." And it was a great match. And then after that, it was just like, oh, well.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping eventually they'll come to their senses and use him the way he should be. Because I remember before I ever saw him wrestle, I just saw a picture of him. There was some thread on a message board or something of which indie guys are going to be big stars. Yeah. And somebody just posted a picture of Uhaa Nation. I was like, oh man, Vince is gonna love this guy.
Absolutely.
And then I saw him wrestle. Like, oh, this is a mega star in the making. And then just No.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah. To quote Sheamus's legendary theme song, "It's a shameful thing, Lobster Head."
I don't necessarily know. I honestly have never looked up the words
It's a
because
shameful
I want to
thing,
hear it.
Lobster Head. It's the lyric is actually she lost her head, but
What?
yeah.
Who?
Careless man will wind up dead.
Who is the she?
I don't know.
Sheamus's
But
wife.
whatever it was shameful. Too many limes. Too many
I
limes.
don't like his whole theme. The one theme that I miss is, Drew McIntyre's
Yes.
creepy
The,
serial killer theme.
Yes. Yeah, that was a great theme.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's a
And of course, we go with our 20
feminine voice
count.
there, coming from Mac Takeda from Big Japan, counting out Yuji Hino. These two had very different training experiences. Apollo Crews trained by Mr. Hughes, and Yuji Hino trained by Taka Michinoku. So those are two very kind of contrasting in-ring styles, but they produced two very complementary wrestling styles. Both these guys do the technical thing well. Both these guys do the powerhouse thing well, as evidenced by the sheer number of suplexes and throws we've seen so far.
So I've been reading, we follow Sean Ross Sapp to get great updates from Fightful. He put this fact out there that was amazing because, the recent WWE cuts, budget cuts, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Less than a year ago, Diamond Mine was supposed to be Roderick Strong, Tyler Rust, Arturo Ruas, Hideki Suzuki, Marina Shafir, and Malcolm Bivens. Strong is the only one still in WWE.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. Just
like the PC cuts of people who haven't debuted. I mean, I don't know if they even barely gave them a chance before they realized, if they were good enough.
Yeah.
Harlan,
there's
I don't
the
think
fucking
even
bomb.
Did Harlan even have a match?
I don't know. I mean, he was on TV a lot, but
it was with Joe Gacy.
Yeah. I'm sure he must have at some point, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
And they kept saying, oh, he's the next Brock Lesnar. Apparently not.
Nope.
They're no longer the next big thing. They're just the next thing.
Well, because that's the thing. Like, nobody's ever going to be Brock Lesnar or John Cena or Randy Orton because they're all the same.
Yeah.
Like, one, two, each of those guys had something about them that made them special.
Plus, that was
Blue Thunder Bomb from Apollo 2.9. I'm sorry, I cut you off there for what I thought.
No, that's all right. That Ohio Valley era is just unmatched.
Yeah. That class of 2002 of Cena, Orton, Lesnar, Batista.
And 20 years later, they're still there.
Yep. That's what happens when you cannot build new stars. Jackknife powerbomb from Hino. 2, 3. That does it. Yuji Hino has upset Apollo Crews to move on to round number 3. Big win for Yuji Hino. Number 3, 2, 1. And that is has every match been an upset? No. 4 out of 5 though, or 5 out of 6 have been. But not a great day for the higher seeds. What does that mean for the number 1 overall seed, Kenny Omega, as he prepares to make his 500 debut later on in the show?
That is a landmark moment for us.
Absolutely. He's one of 12 wrestlers that got a first round bye. And we will see if he can continue the trend of top guys advancing, the seeds 13 through 16, which were the 4 highest seeds that we did see in round number 1, all won their matches. And we will see if the top 12 will. Round 2 is going to take place over the course of 12 weeks. Each of those shows will feature one of the wrestlers that got a first round bye, as well as, a whole bunch of others. But before that, we're going to take a little break. We have now eliminated 250 of the 500 participants in this tournament. A whole lot more interesting numbers beyond that I'll get into when we come back. Also, a little life update on yours truly, unruly Pat Dooley, about what has been going on with me and the world of pro wrestling. So stay tuned. 5 more great matches still to come. Lots more fun to go. We'll be back in 5. And then there were
Hey!
250.
Yeah, we've done it, man.
Yeah. We took
Did we peak? We didn't peak. Did we peak?
no. God, I hope we
Okay.
haven't peaked. We've still
God,
got,
I hope not.
we've still got so much more to go. If it's all downhill from here, what are we even doing?
Hey, man, the ball's rolling up.
Yes, that's right. I've lost track of the metaphor. But hey, we are back with the second half of the first episode of the second round of the first ever 500. How many more numbers can I throw into this sentence?
First of the second of the first.
Yeah. So what do we want to start with? Do we want to talk about tournament stats, or do we want to talk about what's going on?
Oh, forget all that. Dude,
So,
you are on your way to becoming a professional pro wrestling commentator.
Yeah, this week I started taking classes at the FXE Academy in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Longtime indie wrestling fans might know the name FXE. It was for a while based in Orlando. It was a like the top independent school in the country. Tom Lawler trained there. Byron Saxton trained there. Lots of guys got their start there before going on to bigger and better things. AJ Gallant, the former trainee of the WCW Power Plant, and Shawn Michaels' Texas Wrestling Academy is the head trainer.
And also, Jerry King Lynn.
And so he has partnered with Jerry effing Lynn and Tom Latimer, formerly Bram, formerly oh God, Tom, I'm so sorry. I'm blanking on what your name was when you were half of the original version of the Ascension. But he was Connor's original partner in the Ascension when he was in NXT. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name. But Tom Latimer is also a trainer at the school. I just started this week. I went in, I had an interview Tuesday, took a tour of their brand new $1 million facility here in the Nashville area,
which is beautiful.
It's
the things I've seen,
gorgeous, and honestly, the pictures on the website don't do it justice. Because I had, I did my due diligence. I checked out everything before I went in, and stepping into that room where they have these two custom-built 18-foot rings that they're using for training was like
very cool.
I got a little emotional, but they've got but they're training wrestlers, they're training referees, they're training managers, and they're training commentators, which is something I've never really seen from a wrestling school. So I reached out to him and was like, hey, I'm almost 40. I'm a middle-aged fat guy with bad knees and ankles. Like, my days of possibly being a wrestler are behind me, but man, would I like to be a commentator. And they're like, yeah, come on in. So I met with AJ, and I met with the facility, with the business manager, Kaylin, and we hit it off and had a really good time. It was like, hey, come and check out the class tomorrow. And so Wednesday and Friday, I have gone and hung out with AJ while he coached the guys and the girl. There's only been one girl in the class, but there's one other that I just haven't met yet. She wasn't there Wednesday or Friday. But it's a really cool mix of guys, all kinds of different backgrounds. And man, AJ knows his stuff. So it's just been so cool to just kind of like sit this learning tree. And they've been really supportive. A couple of the guys have one of the guys last night, Eric Jackson, pulled me aside and was like, dude, your voice is really soothing. Like, thanks.
You could be the first. You could be the first ASMR wrestling commentator.
Collar and elbow tie up.
Don't do it. Don't. I hate that. I hate it so much. I will punch you through the screen.
There's gotta be a market for that. AMSR PW.
Somewhere, some hilarious promotion could pull that off.
And just have like a very quiet,
a whispering commentator,
like very padded ring, so it doesn't make a lot of noise.
All pillow fights. By the way, there is a professional pillow fighting league. Did you know
there is? There is.
Holy crap! I just discovered it. I thought it was a sketch. It's real.
No, it's real. Yeah, and they're hardcore about it.
Oh, they are.
It's like that Russian slap tournament.
Yeah,
that they do once a year.
Anything could be a sport, folks. Anything.
Absolutely.
But dude, you are like you're in the foundation of this new school. It feels to me like, and this is just speculation on my part, but they are possibly getting you ready for at a facility like that. It feels like you would definitely do a TV show out of there. So
Yeah, the
you never
plan
know,
is they're
man.
going to start doing streaming shows this summer.
Awesome.
Because
There
the
you
first
go.
Classic Guys just started in January. Some of them have a little bit of training before. One of the guys was originally trained by Johnny Rods,
Oh
and
yeah.
then came over to FXE once he learned that they were reopening the school in Nashville. And so there's definitely some talent. There's a couple of guys that with the right seasoning and they stick to it could be really good. We might see them in future editions of this tournament.
You never know.
That
But you heard it here, everyone, first.
that would be really cool.
This man could be the voice that you see on the streaming series, which we are absolutely going to be hyped about. Pat,
Absolutely.
I am,
and I will
incredibly
provide
proud.
updates as they come along. Apparently Monday I will finally get to meet Jerry, because for the Wednesday and
Cool.
Friday shows he was obviously on the road with
Yes, being that
AEW.
he is a producer for AEW.
Yep. So, but AJ said he will be there Monday. I'm not sure about Tom yet, but yeah, it's cool. I will, after, God, I don't know how many times I have watched Jerry Lynn against Rob Van Dam from Heatwave 98, or the, what was the second match? Living Dangerously.
A lot of people forget, like, they had just as good a match in TNA when they faced
Yeah.
that one-on-one.
Mhm.
It was poetic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those pairings that just seemingly physically incapable of having a bad match together.
Yeah. They
There are
don't
just
they don't
guys
even
that
have
have-
to like call it.
Yeah.
They just do it.
They just do it. These guys just had so much chemistry together that it just always worked. So
But
so that's what I've been up to.
And,
Going
that,
through
and
the
that's why
weirdest
we
midlife
have
crisis
like
ever.
that's why we've done like a bit of a shift in our roles here. Because Pat, you are, being that you are on this new journey of being a voice of wrestling, I was like, why not do it for this? I've always loved being the smart ass color guy. So this is your deal, man, and I'm happy to be a part of it and watch you grow and take this journey now. So
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
let's see you do your thing with our next match.
Yeah, well, let's do a real quick by the numbers, talking about the first round here. Like I mentioned, I was going to do a quick video, just didn't have time.
No.
But as you can imagine, with now going to wrestling school, what will be 3 days a week, it was only twice this week. But here are it's all about the numbers. 108 of the 244 first round matches, 108 of them were won by the lowest seeded wrestler, meaning the favorites only won 55.74% of the time. 479 was the seed disparity between number 17 Ultimo Guerrero and number 496 Antonio Honda in episode 3, making Honda's victory the largest upset in the tournament thus far. 487, by contrast, the largest seed disparity in the first round overall was between number 13 Big E and number 500 Lulu Pencil, which is a match that Big E won pretty handily in episode 6. 12, Kenny Omega, Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, Kota Ibushi, Jon Moxley, Will Ospreay, Finn Balor, Shingo Takagi, Rich Swann, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton, by virtue of their top 12 rankings in the PWI 500, all earned first-round buys and will be making their debuts in the 500 in round 2. 142. Awesome. The number of wrestlers in the first round with no affiliation to a major promotion. Of that 142, only 60 advanced to the second round. 8-0, the improbable record of All Japan Pro Wrestling, the only promotion to go undefeated with 3 or more matches in the first round. 0-3, the record of Big Japan Pro Wrestling, the only promotion to enter the tournament with more than one participant and not have a single one advance to round 2. 22-25, the disappointing record of New Japan Pro Wrestling, one of only 4 promotions to send 20 or more wrestlers to the tournament, along with AEW, WWE, and Impact, and the only one of the 4 with a losing record in the first round. 48 minutes, 35 seconds. On episode 5, Nick Gage and Brett Eisen engaged in a violent, bloody, hardcore match that lasted nearly 50 minutes, by far the longest match of the first round. The second longest, episode 21's Chuck Taylor versus Richie Taylor, was a full 10 minutes, 27 seconds shorter, clocking in at 38:08. Both matches got 100% ratings from the game. 35. The total number of 100% ratings in the first round, beginning with episode 1's Edith Surreal versus Yuji Hino, concluding with episode 24's Laney Luck versus Trevor Aon. 68%. On the other end of the spectrum, episode 7 saw Tyler 8 upset EC3 in a match that garnered only a 68% rating, the lowest rated of the 244 first-round matches. And 6 minutes, 20 seconds, the EC3 bait match also holds the distinction of being the shortest match of the tournament.
Such a fickle system that this video game decides to rate.
Indeed. So let's head to ringside to start off the second half of the first episode of the second round of the first ever 500. 2-1-2-1 500.
I'm
that should be the hotline number for the 500. Like 1-900-909-9900.
Call in. We've got tips about secrets of pro wrestling. Do you ever remember those WCW hotlines?
Oh yeah. Yep. Just $7.99 for the first minute, $1.99 for every minute after that. So AC Mack, the independent world champion, the number 272 seed in our tournament, upset number 241, David Finlay, back in episode 2, using his Mac 10 finisher, the Mac of all trades. And number 16, Killer Cross, when we saw him in episode 2, he had just been released by WWE. He defeated Mr. Iguana, the number 497 seed, with the cross jacket. It was the third shortest match at only 7 minutes, 20 seconds, and it was tied for the third worst match with a 73% rating. So he's hoping to bounce back from that. AC Mack's first round match was a 93%, so hopefully he can help Cross rebound from a rough first round. Of course, Cross has a lot of size on Mac here. Got 3 inches and nearly 80 pounds over the Atlanta native.
Also, Killer Cross was a killer impression of Jesse Ventura.
Yes, indeed.
You can't tell me you don't have 5 more in you. I was there.
I was there. That's one impression I never quite got down myself. I can never quite do Jesse justice.
So we're still trying to adjust some sound. I don't know what is coming through on the stream, but I kind of hear myself echoing through like I'm on a voice call with Pat. So forgive us if it beats.
I just turned the volume down on the game to see if that helps at all.
Maybe it's just the way it goes through here. I don't know if that's necessarily going out that way.
Okay. Back with a slam in the corner, dragging the very tattooed killer. Is Cross bleeding, or is that?
No, that's just a very purple tattoo that they put on him.
Well, I was thinking under his eye. There might be a little blood. I think that might just be shading.
Yeah.
On his nose.
Despite his affiliation with the CYN promotion, I've actually discovered that Killer Cross not that kind of guy. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and also congrats. He and Scarlett just eloped. They are now officially married.
He's one of those guys where it's like he had personality that they could have used in NXT. Or at least like ended up developing more. But yeah.
They just
said they put him in some weird gladiator
not to. Yeah. I'm never gonna understand that company.
I never
Which
will.
is a shame because it's the reason I'm into wrestling was,
Well, it's the
Hulk
reason why
Hogan
pretty much
and
everybody is into wrestling our generation.
yeah.
Although I will say I was more of a WWE guy growing up.
I didn't know WCW existed until I had already been a WWF fan for about 4 years. So I always just kind of saw WCW as the B show when I first saw it. That changed a little in '94 when Hogan jumped.
Right.
I was still, I was 11, so I was still a kind of a Hogan mark. And I remembered Flair from his brief WWF run. So the fact that they were doing Hogan versus Flair at Bash at the Beach '94 for Hogan's debut.
The WrestleMania they did again.
Yep, should have been. That should have been the Mania 8 main event. As great as Flair Savage was, that absolutely should have been Hogan and Flair. Should have been Hogan Flair, Savage Warrior 2, and I don't know what you do with Sid, but
no one ever knew what to do with Sid.
No. Which is a shame because Sid.
Wait, I don't know what you did, but it's great.
Oh, great. Okay.
Oh, we'll keep that.
Cool. Yeah, I just went into my sound mixer and bumped the game volume down, so
cool.
I guess that was what was bleeding into the audio.
No problem.
I can still hear it. I can still hear the.
I still hear the game too, so it's. I don't think it's that big a problem.
Cool. Very
cool. Actually, check our actuals.
From the back of the head from Cross. Cross doing a pretty good job of winning the power battle here against AJ. Oh, there's the Cross jacket, and that's enough. Referee Frank Atsushi from Big Japan calls it. Big Japan's referees having a better go of it than the wrestlers did. But number 16, Killer Cross, moves on.
Via submission.
The Cross jacket. Technically, Cross jacket B, according to the game, if you want to get technical about it.
What's Cross jacket A?
I don't know. Cross jacket A. So that was the last of our second round matches in the first episode that featured someone who pulled off an upset in round number 1. Going forward, these are all going to be the people that are quote unquote supposed to be here in round 2.
Well, we found out that's never the case when it comes to our show because
that's right. You never
anybody can be anywhere.
That's right. We have seen several upsets throughout the first round. And
I think we should call them surprise victories.
Yeah.
It's upset.
Okay
It just sounds like demeaning for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm okay with that.
Surprise victories. Now, Kenny, by God, Omega, taking on, in my opinion, the best wrestler currently in NXT, Carmelo Hayes.
Hard to argue. Carmelo Hayes is one of the rare standouts among the most recent batch of NXT.
Give it a few months, and no one will remember. And I don't mean that about Carmelo Hayes. I mean that about
this
is the system.
It's about the booking, not about the guy.
Yeah.
Anytime anybody starts to get big, they get their legs cut out from under them.
It's the worst.
Which is a shame because
these are deserving people. If you have literally the most talented roster, arguably, well, they did for a while, and then AEW was like, mine now.
No, I want that. Carmelo Hayes, who we also saw way back in episode 1 when he defeated La Hiedra with that Wakigatame, easy enough for me to say, to advance. But stand by 1 second, because I think it's the real thing.
Oh boy.
can't really hear it. But
He has so many things about him, including the fact that his favorite city happens to be Charlotte,
North Carolina.
Kenny Omega.
By God, Omega, in there with Carmelo Hayes.
By the way, I realized that whole Charlotte, North Carolina thing, because it was taken from the Michael Jordan intro, that was all another Easter egg leading up to the Chicago show where CM Punk debuted.
Interesting.
All of those things were just tiny little things to hint.
Huh.
I love it. I love it. They are like always 6 steps ahead.
Yep. See, that's what happens when you can, plan. When you have an idea of where you're going.
Let stories
and build
breathe.
toward it. Yeah. So Kenny Omega, by God, Kenny Omega, the #1 wrestler in the world according to the PWI 500, probably won't be this year because he's lost so much time to injury. You and I have talked about this in the past. We'll,
Can we just for 1 second? And Adam Cole said this recently, and I realized how true it is that during Kenny's time wrestling over the last 2 years, he was injured. It wasn't at 100%, and he was putting on a spectacle of amazing matches.
Yeah.
Imagine what it's going to be like when he is at 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be another level. I think he'll be smarter this time around. Save the occasional death-defying spot, or he won't care. And he'll just do it anyway.
I mean, just imagine Hangman and Kenny, the match they had at Full Gear, how great that was. And Kenny was at like 70%.
He had vertigo while doing these matches.
In that match.
He said the ring was spinning when he faced Bryan Danielson.
That's just
and he went an hour.
Yeah. Just absolutely mind-boggling that he's that good with all of the problems he was going through.
Wonder if he ever watched the footage from his match after all this time.
I don't know.
From his last match where the Bucks didn't interfere. That was a key point on the promo after that on that show in Dynamite. He's like, "Well, I didn't watch the footage because I'm just too tired." So, you see Matt kind of go like, "Oh, good."
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how this new Undisputed Elite, how that works with Kenny back.
I think that will be the true start of the 3 of them becoming the Paragon, and then the true Elite coming back. And that's when I really do feel like he is saving this trios division for when Kenny comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, I can absolutely see Kenny
the Elite, the original Elite, being the first trios champion is absolutely plausible.
Yep. But yeah,
you think he's going to show up at Forbidden Door?
What's that?
You think he'll at least have an appearance at
I think
Forbidden
he'll
Door?
be there, yeah. I'm not sure where he is in his recovery process, but I can't imagine he would miss that show for anything, even if he is hurt. Even if he's just accompanying the Bucks to the ring. Would I love to see him and Kota go one-on-one?
Oh,
yes.
Everybody would, of course.
I believe it was you that brought up the idea of the Golden
FTR
Lovers
versus Golden Lovers, yeah.
I would love to see that. Golden Lovers against the Bucks. Golden Lovers against, even Jurassic Express. There's...
Yeah.
Oh, man, just the possibilities of that show are endless.
I mean, the thing that is, Kota may not be 100% either. And Okada may not be even able to go to the show. I think it's for visa reasons. I'm not exactly sure, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be in the United States anytime soon. So I don't think the IWGP World's Heavyweight Championship, unless somehow it gets dropped to him, if Ospreay is able to once again regain it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a definitely, we've talked, and
Whoa!
There goes my light. But Okade Yobori, using his own.
You
finish
were shocked
against him.
so much by this match.
I
that it
was.
shook your light off.
I leaned back and I caught the cord of my light, brought it down.
Oh, here it
One
comes.
Winged Angel.
Now remember,
1,
this is the video game
2,
version,
3.
and that's
It's
all
enough.
it takes. Nobody
Kenny
takes out of the
Omega.
One-Winged Angel.
Bang.
Good night.
Good night. Mwah. And wait, no. It's
Good night.
goodbye.
Good
Good
luck.
night. Good night. And goodbye.
Bye. Good luck. Good night. Good luck. And
Mwah.
bang.
Bang. Katayoku no Tenshi, aka the One-Winged Angel. Kenny by God Omega. Not from Charlotte, North Carolina.
One of
It's
Canada's
up to-
greatest imports. Or exports, rather.
Yes. America's great imports from Canada. Who exported it? 10 minutes and 6 seconds. Not the best bout from the best bout machine.
I mean, honestly,
only
it's a
an
great TV match.
83% rating, but he not getting paid by the hour, folks.
I will say, like, Kenny Omega proved that he was able to transition to the North American style and TV match style, because everyone thought, oh, he's only gonna do like these hour-long matches. He can't do that on TV. And Kenny was like, I'll show you. watch me. I'll change everything about me and become, you know, a heel version of everything that everybody hoped would come to AEW, and I love that. Completely flipping it on its head. Sometimes landing on its head.
Indeed. To the point where the room spins.
I'm glad. I hope he's better soon.
Yes.
But take as much time as you need, Kenny. Do not rush.
Yep. The important thing is that I have an onion tied to my belt, which was the style of that. No, wait. The important thing
There's
is
our Simpsons quote.
the important thing is that when you're back, you're 100% because we want that
Greatest thing
person.
since sliced bread. Sliced bread having been invented a couple of years before.
Yeah. Which was the greatest thing since ripped up bread. So here we go.
That was
Cara
something nobody
Noir.
thought, like, oh, wow, look at that.
Hey, this is so much easier.
Is everyone doing this? Why? Why not? Knives existed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm assuming people were slicing their own bread and that the expression is about pre-sliced bread.
I
But-
don't know.
Also, yeah.
So we have
There
now
is
the current TNT champion,
TNT champion
two-time.
as of 4 days ago.
Yeah, great match.
Really
match.
great ladder match against Sammy Guevara. Get well soon. Sammy came out with some neck and shoulder issues that hopefully.
He just won the mixed tag championship with Ty Conti in AAA.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
hadn't seen that yet. That happened at Triple Mania last night.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right, so I guess he's working through it.
So
Yeah, I
there's
have not
another
checked the
obnoxious thing
AAA.
about his character that'll show up on Dynamite.
The only Triple Mania news I saw this morning was about Adam Scherr showing up and
The
saying
Titan?
that he's going to Forbidden Door.
The Titan?
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah, you can't just book yourself.
Yeah. I know you're trying to control
You
your
really,
name,
I was
but you're not.
beat me to it.
You're not controlling your booking.
No, that's you need like an agent for that.
Yeah. So yeah, Cara Noir, the Progress Wrestling Unified World Champion. I believe he still holds that title. I'm double checking.
Oh, I got
Oh
it
no,
back.
I'm sorry. He lost it in March after a 791-day reign. He dropped the title. But yeah, Cara Noir, a student of Zack Sabre Jr., which, I mean, can you imagine a better technical upbringing than Sabre?
I would love to see Wheeler Yuta versus Sabre.
That would be so good. Yeah,
I mean,
I
like,
would love
that's
to
the
see
thing.
that.
He is now at the forefront of all of my dream matches where people are beating the piss out of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Cara Noir, we saw back in episode 2 when he defeated Ken Broadway with a shoulder neck breaker drop. And Scorpio Sky, we didn't see until episode 16 when he defeated Eel O'Neill with a Japanese leg roll clutch. So the original face of the Revolution, Scorpio Sky.
Cara Noir, known for using ballet maneuvering in his professional wrestling style.
Yes, absolutely. You can tell his makeup is Black Swan inspired. I believe, though,
he is
that
the
the
Black
name
Swan of pro wrestling.
Yes,
So
yes, indeed. My French is not good. Certainly not on the level of my Spanish or my Japanese. But
are you talking about the fact that he came out to Tchaikovsky's Pas de Trois?
no, I was going more so the fact that I think his name literally translates to blackface.
Cara.
But, well, apparently Cara is not a word in French. It does mean face in Spanish.
Yes, I feel like that is the kind of like, it's Cara with face, the mask, like a painted mask, and then Noir, black and white.
Right.
So there you go.
Yep.
Very
there's no
artistic,
direct translation according to Google. So.
Artsy sting.
Yeah.
Hey, but although he's got like a great Muda look to him right now.
Yes.
Who
Also
is
wrestling
still
barefoot.
in Pro Wrestling Noah, and yeah,
Yeah,
That's
still
the thing.
kicking it as part of M's Alliance in Noah, along with fellow longtime veteran Naomichi Marufuji and a couple other guys as part of that M's Alliance stable.
By the way,
Spitting heel
all
kick.
it took for Scorpio Sky to become face was, first of all, an amazing promo by Ethan Page.
Ethan Page, yeah.
My God, that was awesome. I don't want to cheer for Dan Lambert.
No.
Unless he decides to change up his style and not let it be so,
Control
way
your
too
narrative.
Dutch Mantel old school.
Yeah.
Because obviously he knows how to deliver a promo. But, don't go for the shock jock value anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I don't mind, some undercutting jabs or stuff, but don't let
sure.
it be at the expense
Oh, package pile driver.
My favorite gear from
Two.
Scorpio Sky was when he came out in the Apollo Creed, and Frankie Kazarian had the Rocky tights.
Mhm. That is actually one of his alt attires
Nice.
on this edit.
First
thinking if he
AEW
makes it
Tag
to-
Team Champion.
Yep. Poison Rana from Scorpio.
I do like that.
Clearly learning from Dr. Shelby how to control his emotions here.
Hey man, you mad, bro?
That dragon clutch. This is, without a doubt, the worst simulated arena he has ever been in.
I was just
Slurp
gonna
off the
say,
top rope.
I like that.
Oh! Swinging
What?
Rana on the floor by Scorpio. Holy
Forget
cow.
what I was talking about. Holy crap!
Let's just watch that over and over again. Collar and elbow on the floor.
Clip that, anybody who's on Twitch
Yes.
right now.
Yes, I would love a clip of that. Series of kicks to the ribs, really, there from Noir. Side
Scorpio
brush and leg
Sky
sweep by Scorp, but that
really
clearly took a lot
reaching.
out of him.
Truly reaching for the skies with those moves.
Yeah, absolutely. Both these guys really kind of throwing out all the stops. Rear naked choke from Cara Noir.
Would you call Scorpio Sky like a hybrid wrestler?
I would. I think he can do, he probably got first noticed as a high flyer. But yeah, he's got technical skills. He can brawl. Yeah, I really have yet to see something that Scorpio isn't good at in the ring. Maybe power, not so much, but he's in there against a smaller guy in Cara Noir, so he can do.
He
the power.
kind of had like a heavyweight match
Two?
with Jericho.
0.9. That's true. That is true. Darn it, I did it again. I need to find a way to secure that cord better so it's not right in
Your
the
light
way
is
of-
very exciting.
It is. It's, yeah. I have it plugged into one of the... and the hook was attached to the car door. It's hooked to one of my front USB ports on my computer.
Right.
So anytime I move, I am at risk of bumping it.
So that was just perfect.
There we go. All right. And we're back. Professional show business. AJ, I promise that won't happen on any of the FXE streams.
Well, they have a real studio, so you
They
don't
do have
to
a
worry
real
about
studio.
that.
They have a legit studio
Yeah.
in that facility.
Oh,
yeah.
is it the TKO?
TKO. That might be it. And he's just gonna
Ooh,
roll
with a very
into-
interesting bridge pin, but
He
it's too close. To the
roll
rope.
himself into the ropes. Oh, and Kara just kicks him in
Whoa.
the face.
That was like right on the jaw.
Like, okay, that's enough of that.
I think
Rude
Scorpio Sky
Awakening
has an
neckbreaker.
MMA background as well, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Scorpio Sky has done some MMA,
Yeah,
so that
big
that
frog
hit the
splash.
button in a cage match or an octagon would have
All
been
right. You know what?
over. The light
just gonna-
would not
we're just
say.
gonna be
I
dark.
can still see you, so you're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, these are just dark matches now, and I will just fix that for next week's stream.
we
Sends
have
them
this
off.
show held together by duct tape.
Yes. At least it's just like a cheap little ring light I bought at Five Below.
I
so.
literally have the same one. I know exactly which one you have.
Learned from that earlier match, Charlie horsing the leg with those shots to the thigh.
Go for the quads. Oof. The worst injury I've ever seen.
Rolling
in
capo
wrestling.
kick into the corner. No. Back. Oh, step up Enzigiri.
Like water just flowing in. Here it is.
There's another
The
TKO.
TKO
He's
right in
not
the
up in
center
the
of the
ropes
ring.
this time.
This has got to be it.
1, 2, 3. That did it.
There
Oh,
you
and the
go.
dual shock
Right
disconnect.
as the
right
dual
as
shock disconnected. Hey man, we've got
Scorpio
our own
Sky.
tropes on this show at this point.
This is yeah, the seams are starting to show. Scorpio Sky advances to the round of 128. Japanese leg roll clutch, 100% quality. Our first of the night.
Hey, we got 100. Feel like
First of the
it's
second round.
The grade I never got in high school.
They were few and far between for me. Depended on the class.
Highest math grade I ever got, B+. It was college. It saved me from not graduating.
Nice.
It was a logic math class, and I passed because I watched Donald in Magic Land, because that
I
was the
remember that.
central core of the entire study. It was on the golden rectangle and all that stuff. And I remembered it, I learned it, and I passed. The highest grade I've ever gotten in math.
Well,
Saved my ass. Also, I got a D+ from a final in my from my theater history teacher, who wrote in the back of the blue book, "You're welcome." I'm like, Jesus, thanks.
I don't recall that.
I also I also credit my wife for helping me get like a lot of credits transferred over so that I didn't have to be there for another year.
Yeah,
I think she scared them, to be honest.
I had to do something a little similar. It wasn't about credits, but it was about the way that classes were offered. There was a point where, in order to take the final class I needed to graduate, I needed to have a prerequisite that wasn't offered in the fall semester. It was like, so you're going to make me come back for an entire semester for one class.
Oh,
So
God.
I wound up basically talking my way into taking that class in the spring, the prerequisite, and then rather than doing the capstone class to end the program the following fall, I talked them into letting me do like a final big project in place of the capstone so I could
Yeah,
graduate on
that's
time.
what I did too. I had independent study in improvisation, and part of it was being able to put on a show. So I was like, no problem.
Yeah, I can do that.
I did that. I wrote a paper about Commedia dell'arte, and then I was like, good?
Nice.
Yes, done. Thank you. Bye. And I never went to school again.
Yep. The aside from like on-the-job learning for various jobs over the years, stepping into the FXE building was it was kind of like a going back to school moment, except it didn't suck.
Yeah. No cheer, no anxiety from like, oh god.
Yeah. I mean, there was a little bit of anxiety.
Don't make
just
me
like
learn stuff.
What am I doing?
Well, soon I expect you to be the voice of this promotion that inevitably
Here's
will come from it.
Here's hoping. AJ has been very, very supportive and quick to offer praise when he deems it appropriate, and he's been very complimentary through 2 classes, which I appreciate. So here's hoping that it leads to something big.
Speaking of something big, the fact that our next match features a man who disappeared from WWE and then suddenly came back, Mustafa Ali.
Yes,
I
indeed.
have been following this. Well, I don't think we have to free Ali at this point.
Yeah, I think he's free now.
I think he's free to do what he wants. And that being a storyline with Austin Theory.
Yeah,
Possible United States Championship contender. So we'll see.
It's mind-boggling to me that, like, as great as the Kofi Mania stuff was, like, that was supposed to be Ali.
It could have been him.
It would have been Ali if he hadn't gotten hurt.
And I still think it was so dumb that he's literally touching the Bunny in the Bag briefcase and then gets distracted because Brock Lesnar shows up. And I'm like, just take it.
Just grab it. You are
Just grab
holding
it. It was literally in your hands.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
I really do think that he would have been in that spot.
Yeah.
And imagine Mustafa Ali versus Bryan Danielson.
What could have been?
What could have been? He's got such a great, like, real life story of being a cop from Chicago and deciding to dedicate now his life from being a protector to being a provider, and it's such a great, like, real life relatable story for people. And then they make him a hacker.
Yep. They just can't help themselves.
No, they cannot.
On a more positive note, he did get to this point by defeating Jake Christ back in episode 1 with a screw neck breaker drop. QT Marshall made it this far by defeating Jamie Tagatayaci in episode 19, the first match involving one of my edits. Which not that many of them advanced, which I guess makes sense because none of them were seated very high. Hence why there were no edits of them. But this is our 128-129 matchup, which, off the top of your head how brackets work, you can probably put together that the winner of this match will be facing Kenny Omega in round 3. So
This could be an AEW match for QT Marshall, or the crossover match that we kind of hoped would happen if he got signed with Mustafa.
Yeah. An intriguing matchup one way or the other. Our referee is El Piero, representing AAA. Doing a good job of staying out of the way. Back elbow from QT Marshall. Kick to the inside of the leg. Kicked his leg out of his leg.
Kicked his leg out of his leg. In the first episode of the second round of the first ever tournament.
Yes.
Did I get it right?
the fourth match in the second half of the first episode of the second round.
This is gonna hurt. I don't do numbers well. It's a reason I went into entertainment. Yet I play a game where I throw around shiny math rocks.
Oh, shiny math rocks.
Life is weird.
It is. It is. DDT from QT Marshall. Dragging Mustafa back to the middle of the ring. Drops an elbow on his face.
I like QT Marshall. I like how well he makes others look.
Yes.
And he's got, like, definitely that Mid-South style to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a build like, you know, a classic wrestler, where it's not all abs or, you know, all super definition, but he looks like a strong guy who could
Yeah.
hurt you.
I mean, yeah, 6 foot 234 is nothing to sneeze at. It's,
No, not at all.
He's pretty well put together. And yeah, he's also a fellow Jersey boy.
Heck yeah, Freehold. I've followed QT Marshall in the Indies. Was really happy to see him show up in Ring of Honor, and then I had no idea like that he was going to be as prominent a player in AEW as he's been. I do kind of hope that they give him a shot, that Tony Khan gives him more of a shot to book Ring of Honor, so as to relieve the constant work that it seems that he does, because it's not just AEW. He's got his football team,
Right.
You know, he's got the Jaguars, and he's got his football club in overseas and in England and or in Europe, and it's, you know, it's a lot.
Yeah. And he's got a lot on his
Guy is
plate.
constantly working, and you can only, because, like, think about, like, great bookers like Bill Watts. He had 3 or 4 years that he was just on fire, and then, you know, they burn out.
Yep.
So it's one of those things. It's like he's not going to have great ideas forever.
By God, Cutter.
Or Diamond Cutter, as he was gifted by DDP.
2.9.
That's the reason he's not the master of the Diamond Cutter.
That's right.
But, you know, I hope to see the Factory be a little more prominent in Ring of Honor.
I think that's a good fit for them. I honestly, I think pretty much the entire Factory would work well as a mid-card heel stable there.
You know, if they
Clearly, a lot of the heel
I doubt they're
attention is
going to bring
go
back
to
the
TV.
Six Man because of the Trios tag team
Yeah.
title plan, which is a shame, because Shane Taylor Promotions, no sign of them anywhere
Yeah.
lately. Oh, big!
Power bomb.
The
2.
Liger bomb, even.
Yeah. It was an Ali Tista bomb. Alista bomb?
At least Mustabomb.
Tista bomb?
I
Yeah.
feel like that ends up being offensive somehow.
Sounds kind of like it, yeah.
Now could be. It's close to being offensive.
2, it's offensive adjacent. Take the midsection from Ali.
I am so morbidly curious what Vince pitched to him, that he was like,
Yeah. No, I want out.
I will not do this. Can I leave? But he came back, and then it was just kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Who is... The thing is, it's like, who is Mustafa Ali? Like, that's the thing. Other than, like, okay, he's a great wrestler, but who is he? You know,
Yeah.
why should I cheer for him? Why should I get behind him?
Yep.
It's just kind of like they just throw them out there, and there's no reason to really... And then the thing that they do ask you to attach to is usually stupid.
Yes.
Like Ricochet, he's a superhero. No,
Boing!
he's not. Yeah,
1,
Ricochet Rabbit.
2.9. A lot of back and forth here.
If they could have called him Rick O'Shea, like an Irish
Yeah.
name, they probably would have. I'm surprised he didn't get a name change.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. Especially when the first time he showed up in the crowd in NXT, the Chiron said Trevor, quote, Ricochet Man.
Yeah,
Which was his real name. It's like, oh shit, they're going to give him a new name.
yeah.
Showing that it's like, oh, you know him as Ricochet, but when he gets here, he will be
I don't know.
Flame Boy.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be Prince Puma.
No. Oh, Ali with that.
Oh, I love
imploding
that move.
The 054, that imploding 450
There it is.
enough. Mustafa Ali and Kenny Omega
Oh
in
man,
round
I am
3.
excited for that.
That is gonna be one to watch for. And, well, I guess the time for talk is over.
Looks like we've had enough talk.
We've had enough talk. That's right. Why could I never remember that part?
Because we're trying to make it our own.
Yeah.
Looks like
But all
we've had
that
enough.
notwithstanding,
It's time for the main event.
where we will see, no,
A major
Come on.
player
yes,
taking on.
who I was not able to find a
True
graphic
Canadian
for that team, so
destroyer.
he's just going to have the generic Impact logo.
Yeah, he literally just became a staple with his old tag team partner.
Yes. So nobody has jumped on the logo train for them yet. So it's not an oversight on my part. It's just I don't have the graphical skill to make one myself, so I need to wait for someone to upload it. But these are actually 2 lower seeds in our main event. But the reason it's the main event is this is the only match on the show where the 2 have shared a ring before. So that was the logic behind making Brian Myers and Pete Williams our main event tonight, because apparently Vince doesn't like calling him Petey, so he just calls him Pete.
Yeah, that I read that. I was like, really? Like, just why? Because it's not masculine.
I mean, yeah, that's probably exactly why he does it, because if there's anybody
just
whose opinion on
Drinks,
what,
drinks testosterone in the morning. I have a feeling like
yeah, if there's anybody
Breakfast.
whose opinions on modern masculinity I trust, it is definitely Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
oh, of course. Ugh.
Oof.
The
So,
word toxic comes to mind.
yes, that's it's not just a Britney Spears song, yo. So Petey Williams, we saw back in episode 1, surprise victory over number 32 Cesaro, now Claudio Castagnoli.
Or
beat him with
Claudio
his-
Cesaro?
Or Claudio Cesaro? Yeah, we're not quite sure.
Not quite sure.
Yeah. Beat him with his Canadian Destroyer finisher. It was the 5th biggest upset in round number 1. And he's in there with number 288, Brian Myers, who beat El Cuatrero from our favorite stable, Nueva Generación Dinamita, also in episode number 1, with a flying body attack.
Now, the Queens, New York native, a true professional wrestler.
Yes.
Also creator
The most-
of the Creator Wrestler Pro Wrestling School,
Indeed.
along with new AEW producer Pat Buck.
Yes. Yes, indeed. As I mentioned, these 2 have shared a ring before. This is their 3rd time facing off. Their first time in singles action, though. The previous 2 times were both Battle Royals on Impact, one of which Myers won, the other of which neither of them won. So, in matches involving both of them, Myers is 1-1, Williams 0-2. Williams pretty much at this point retired as a wrestler, now working as a producer for WWE, and seemingly getting a lot of praise for it.
Yeah.
He's impressing Vince to the point where Vince doesn't want to call him by his name.
I mean, he figured out, you gotta book stuff that impresses Vince, not the
Mhm.
audience.
Yeah. It's very funny because one of I don't think I'm giving away any trade secrets here, AJ. You can tell me on Monday if I am. But one of AJ's biggest things that he teaches his trainees is you're not here to pop the boys, you're here to
Right.
pop the crowd.
Exactly.
But that does seem to be kind of the opposite of how WWE works. Like,
Yes.
you want to book to what Vince likes, not to what the crowd likes.
So that he doesn't tear up the script 10 minutes
Yes.
before the show and booking it on the fly.
Yes.
Which
is
I
just
understand it.
Such a
Don't
silly way to
understand
do
it.
live television.
It's the WWE shows are the Muppet Show,
Yes.
where it's just everything is chaotic, and anything that they plan doesn't go right, so it all just works out by circumstance.
Yep.
Oh, those two guys are arguing. Good. I had no main event planned, so now you're in the main event.
Yeah.
You're just hoping that everybody hates each other that day, so that you can book something.
It would be interesting if there's anybody out there with a little more time on their hands. I have significantly less now than I used to, because now 3 nights a week I'm spending about 5 hours of my night involved in FXE stuff between the drive and then the actual class, because it's an hour away from me. But it would be interesting to go through every episode of Raw and SmackDown from this year and see.
Why would you submit yourself?
What would? Oh, you could just read through recaps of the show.
Yeah.
But what would have been the main event if there hadn't been a talking segment to set up the main event?
Right.
What was the last previously booked match on the show? Because I bet a lot of times
that's why they barely announce it, because it's just you just got to watch to find out. Well, that's not how a promotion works.
Yeah. No. The reason that wrestlers cut promos is to promote the upcoming show, to make you want to watch what's going to happen on the next show. They're already watching this one, so make them come back next week.
If you look at it from this, real life lens, you go to WWE, you're a wrestler, you put on your gear, and you walk around backstage hoping something happens.
Yep. Yeah. Which I will give major props to AEW this week. This is something we have criticized them on in the past. Excalibur having to go into Micro Machines mode to talk through shows. They did a much better job on Dynamite this week.
They gave a couple of matches to each guy.
Yep. And they
I
did
think
it throughout
that
the course of the show. They didn't do all 8 matches in one go. Excalibur did a couple, then Tony did a couple, then a couple segments later, they each did another couple.
Maybe Excalibur said, I can't do that again.
Maybe.
Please don't make me do that again. I will die.
But we also know TK is very online, so he may have seen the criticism.
Oh, yeah.
And decided that, no, this one I actually agree with.
Yeah, that was I do like that. And every wrestler on the show says he listens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, who would have thought? That's a good way to run a business.
Right. Sometimes he, can get a little too online. And,
a little overzealous.
Gets a little snippy with fans who...
Gets back in his old EFED
Petey
days.
with the win. That was a quick one. I'm sorry, Petey and Brian. I was not paying attention to what the finish was there because I didn't think the match was close to being over. I thought you guys had a lot more in you.
I mean, again, surprise victory.
Petey wins it with the Canadian Destroyer.
Definition of it.
Number 481, Petey Williams. Second straight surprise victory with that Canadian Destroyer. One of the most devastating finishers in wrestling when he does it. One of the most devastating setup moves when anybody else does it.
Unless you're Adam Cole and you're surprised it never works.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Well, man, what a start to round 2.
Yeah. Definite some surprises, not just in the results, but in the speed of some of these results.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got a couple new entries in the top 10 quickest matches of the tournament so far. But just to run through real quick what happened today. Matthew Justice over Rampage Brown. Timmy Lou Retton over Jake Atlas. Matt Hayter over Clark Connors. Don't Die Miles over Chris Brooks. Hartley Jackson over Taylor Rust. Yuji Hino over Apollo Crews. Killer Cross over AC Mack. The debuting Kenny Omega over Carmelo Hayes. Scorpio Sky over Cara Noir. Mustafa Ali over QT Marshall. And in our main event just now, Petey Williams over Brian Myers. So, you may ask yourself,
Where did I get
How did I get here?
How did I get here?
This is not my beautiful
You
house.
set that up for me.
What you're probably actually asking is, what does this mean for round 3? So, I'll just tell you. It means we're going to see Matthew Justice against Don't Die Miles. It means we will see Matt Hayter against Petey Williams. It means we will see Hartley Jackson against Yuji Hino. It means we will see Killer Cross against Scorpio Sky. It's going to be a great one.
Okay, I like
it
that.
It means we will see Kenny Omega against Mustafa Ali. And we don't know who Timmy Lou Retton will face because we will find that out next week. So shall we just run through next week's card
Yes, absolutely.
While we're talking next week?
Just don't go as fast as Excalibur. You will
I won't.
run
I
over.
don't know that I'm physically capable. We will see the 500 debut of the number 8 seed Finn Balor as he takes on our favorite Cabana Man Dan.
Yes.
We will see Josh Woods against Konosuke Takeshita, who is starting to make some AEW appearances thanks to the partnership with DDT. We will see Jay the God, JTG, against Derek Neal. Chris Ridgway against Billy Starks. An all New Japan showdown as Kazuchika Okada takes on Tanga Loa. We will see Zeus against Umberto. Dustin Rhodes against Antonio Honda. Ricochet against Buddy Matthews. That one's great.
That's a dream match.
Seth friggin' Rollins against Anthony Bowens. And Santos Escobar against Angelico.
I think Seth friggin' Rollins is the guy from Jersey. It's Seth friggin' Rollins.
It's Seth friggin' Rollins. It's Seth Rollins over here.
That's how Tony D'Angelo would say.
Hey, look at this guy. Some kind of big shot architect.
Oh man, what a awesome start to round 2, and man, I'm loving it. This is gonna be great. This show is McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Except it's better for you.
Yes, much better. Easier to digest.
Yes. At least
And
we
you
hope
don't feel bad about it after you're done.
That's right. You're not. Hopefully, you will not regret this later today, having watched this.
Well,
Although,
Pat,
you know
great
what?
job as the new host.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I feel
I'm
a little
happy to pass that off to you as part of your ongoing journey now as a true professional wrestling commentator.
It's still a lot to wrap my head around. It's weird that I'm doing this. Like my inner 6-year-old is geeking the hell out right now. Because I was talking to my sister about it, and she was the one that reminded me, like, you know, you used to do that with your action figures on the floor when we would play with them, right? Like, yeah, you're right. I was doing commentary before I even really knew what it was, but I was watching Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan do it, and so that was just part of the show. So somebody's got to explain what the moves are. You know, when somebody's getting hit in their occipital protuberance, and
At least you're not asking, how big is this guy's head?
That's right. Yeah, I'm not. Art Donovan was
Yeah,
that?
Art Donovan. My God.
How much does that guy weigh?
How much does this guy weigh?
Oh, man. King of the Ring '94. If you're not sure what it is we're talking about, maybe the worst commentary on any wrestling show ever.
Absolutely.
Art Donovan was a former NFL player, right?
Yeah.
He played for the Colts when they were still in Baltimore, and so they brought him in as like the local celebrity to do commentary with Vince and it was either Savage or Piper. I can't remember who the other color guy was. And the entire show.
Just asking, how big is this guy?
Yeah.
How much does that guy weigh?
Mhm. I'm guessing that he, like, before the show was like, I don't know what I'm talking about. What should I?
I
Let's
need
talk about
one
how big-
thing.
Talk about how big the guys are. Put over how big and strong they are, which he took to me.
He
I need to ask
interpreted it
every
as,
time
yeah.
how big these guys are. No, no, Art. That's not.
You're
No.
supposed to just no. no,
much
no,
does that guy
not
weigh?
you, not you, man.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's the Simpsons gif with the lambs,
Yeah.
except he was never cute. So yeah, 25 episodes down, 255 wrestlers eliminated out of 500. We've still got looking like probably another 25 shows before we crown the inaugural winner. Still trying to figure out how the scheduling is going to work for some of the later rounds when there
We'll
are
see.
like 16 total matches in a round. It's like, do
We
do
may have
just-
to add some extra matches to our regular schedule to just make sure it's expedited and we're not doing this before the next PWI 500 comes
That's
out.
kind of what I'm thinking. Like, do we want to do longer shows to get more of those matches done?
We may have to
in the later rounds.
we have to add some more. Maybe get to 15 matches. Joe.
Yeah, which is a possibility. The current plan for this round is more like this, 10 or 11 matches per show. That worked well for the first round. I have confidence it'll work well for the second, probably even into the third. But once we get down to like 64 wrestlers left, it's going to be harder to do it like that. But
I mean,
again,
when you look at the numbers,
when the numbers don't lie,
and
you
they
see,
spell disaster.
normally
if we screw this
when you
up.
enter a tournament, you've got a 1 in 8 chance of winning.
We are going to be here all
But-
day if you do this promo again.
Yeah, let's end it there, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. As you can see in the upper right corner, you can follow us at PW Simulated on pretty much every social media that's out there. We're not super active on Instagram, but we're trying. But you can also email us prowrestlingsimulated@gmail.com. We had been asking throughout the first round for submissions of edits of wrestlers. We've got everybody now. If you've got one that's better than mine, by all means, let me know via that email address. But if you are a wrestler in the tournament, Don't Die Miles, if you're still out there watching and you want to join us on commentary on this show, or just however you want to be involved, hit us up on email or via our socials. Of course, if you're reaching out on the socials, use that hashtag the500 to let us know that you're talking about us and join in the conversation. You can also check me out. We've switched to Sundays now. We had been on Thursdays, but every Sunday afternoon / evening, depending on when I'm done editing it, I am the co-host of the Kings of Consoles podcast, where Ricky Giraldo and I are basically doing this, but for video games. Where we're working on our Nintendo Entertainment System tournament. We've got our tournament of 100 down to 14. So today's episode, if you are listening, if you're watching this live or later on the day it was produced, this evening you'll be able to hear us talk about Super Mario Brothers 3 and Journey to Silius, which has been one of our great Cinderella stories throughout the tournament. A game neither of us had ever heard of, and has made it to the round of 16. So
The Don't Die Miles of video games.
very much so. It just keeps winning against much bigger competition. But it's against Kenny Omega now. It's against Super Mario Brothers 3. So we'll
Mario,
we'll see
by God, Mario.
yes, that's right. Mario. I like that. From the Mushroom Kingdom. So we will be back with those 10 matches I talked about earlier. Of course, check us out on YouTube. We'll have the entire show there in case you missed any of it. Otherwise, join us back here Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, not standard anymore. And man, I hope that bill passes that makes it permanently Daylight Savings Time. Because
that'd be nice.
boy, oh boy, do I like waking up when the sun is out and going to bed, or getting off work when the sun is out. It's much better for the old mental health.
Oh, absolutely.
So until next week, I'm Pat.
I'm Mike.
Hey, look at that. Roles reversed.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week on the 500.